Right, all praises, all blessings to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect men, pushing this word in all truth and in sincerity, risking life and livelihood. Salakia. In doing so, especially in these days and times. All right, shalom to the women and children who watch and who learn as well from these lessons. And, I hope that you are edified when you watch these lessons. Hey, it's another day in Babylon. All right, another day in Babylon, another day in the battle. All right. Now, I'm going to call this video spin cycle. All right. Heavy on the spin cycle. All right. I'm not subscribed to this channel. Right? Somehow I woke up and, in the middle of the night, and I was, hearing things in my sleep, and, hearing, some things that this guy was going into. All right. Okay. His name is Chuck Missler. All right. And, I woke up, I woke up last night, paused it, went back to sleep. And then, I woke up and I was getting ready for the plantation, and I unpaused it just to listen to, some more of what I was listening to. And, he started talking about, the Idumeans, all right? The Idumeans. Enem, right? Enem. So, you hardly ever hear these people talk about Enem, all right? The Idumeans, all right? And so, pretty much, without saying, all right, he's actually pointing the finger to the 1948ers, all right, and calling them Enem, okay? He's calling the 1948ers Enem, all right, the Idumeans, all right. So I'm gonna play a little bit of this, I'm gonna say fair use, all right. Even when I post the disclaimer, they still, put copyright, on my page. So I'm gonna play some of this. I don't know what's going on with this.
Now, in their choice of the Jews' worst enemy, the Romans had two choices.
Okay, so here we go. The worst, okay, in their choice of the Jews' worst enemy, the Romans had two choices, all right? So this is going to the renaming of the land, all right? He's going into the renaming of the land. Okay, the name of this is called Expectations of the Antichrist, Session 3. Okay, Expectations of the Antichrist, Session 3. Okay? And it says, in their choice of the Jews' worst enemy, the Romans had two choices. So, who is Enem's worst enemy? Okay? So this lets you know who the real Jews are. This should let you know who the real Jews are today. Okay? Because who is the worst enemy of Enem? Okay? Now, Enem has been to war with basically everybody. Okay? Basically everybody. And, Enem puts up with, pretty much tolerates everybody. But it's one somebody okay, who Edom has no toleration for whatsoever, okay? And it's the real Jews. It's you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. He has no tolerance for you whatsoever, okay? And so this goes into them doing away with the name of Israel, okay? Putting it out of memory. Because now, as you see, Chuck Missler goes into them renaming the land.
They could have named the land either one of two ways. They could have called it Idumea, because the Edomites were hated by the Jews, but the Romans weren't sensitive to that.
See? See, it kind of cut him. He said because the Edomites were hated by the Jews, all right? Idumea, okay? He called it a different name. Okay? So these were the two names that they were going to call the land, all right? They were going to call it Idumea or Philistia, all right? Which they ended up calling it Philistia, all right?
They chose an alternative. They felt the most obvious enemy of Israel was the Philistines. So they named the land Philistia, in effect, which actually in the Latin is Palestine. See, the Idumeans were viewed as practitioners of Judaism, not as great an enemy as were the Philistines.
Okay, because during the time of John Hyrcanus, all right, a lot of those Idumeans, a lot of those Idumeans, Enem, okay, a lot of those Enems, they converted, okay, they converted, and so their conversion made them what you would call practitioners of Judaism, all right, or Judaism, where you get these people with the small hats, the 1948ers, okay, these pale color, okay, a lot of them are pale colored people, okay, and those are your Idumeans, your Edomites. Those are your Edomites, okay, but they turned that land, the name of that land, they didn't, it wasn't Edom anymore. It was they turned it to Philistia.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining us.
Not as great an enemy as were the Philistines. There are many that appear today as Jews that are really not. If you look,
so I wonder who he's talking about. Okay, he said there are many today who appear as Jews and are really not. Okay, so guess what? Hey, he's pointing the finger, man. Okay, he's pointing the finger, and a lot of these, but guess what? He's an Idumea too. Maybe he's an Idumea because, maybe because I'm kind of sensing that, hey, that was a big bombshell that he just dropped right there, man. Okay, that was a big bombshell that he said there were many that appear to be Jews and are not today. Okay.
And up to maps of up to 135 AD, after the Bar Kokhba revolt, still displays Judea. The Romans chose to name the land Palestina. That's a Latin way of saying.
Okay, it says maps until 135 AD, after the Bar Kokhba revolt, still displayed Idumea. So the fat snake in the ground, no class, low class, of a base class, vocab Malone, and a lot of these Christians were saying that the Idumeans or Enem, okay, no longer were in existence. Okay, So they, they understand. They know that these people were still in existence, but they are paid to keep you dumbed down. All right. Remember, we are in what you would call a matrix. All right. Right now, here in Babylon the Great, everything around us, to the buildings, to everything. All right. That Enem have created is built to throw off your frequency, to throw off your connection to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right. So, dumbing you down literally through literature, okay, it's just just added measure, okay. So it says, after the Romans chose to name the land Palestina, Idumea disappeared from future maps and history. Okay. So, and guess what? The Idumeas were still around. Okay. At 135 AD. While people said, oh no, the Idumeas, they were been gone. King David killed them all. No, man. Okay. This guy, Chuck Missler, okay, he's showing you, man.
Philistia. Idumea disappeared from future maps and history. The Edomites later.
And this is crazy, man. Yeah, he's going into it. Said Enem, later known as Idumeans, became assimilated. Oh, so what does it mean to assimilate? Let's look that up real quick. Okay, I know what it means, but is this device dead? Oh my goodness. Okay. Thing, man. All right, give me 1 second.
Assimilated.
So they're not speaking on it. To be assimilated means to fully absorb, integrate, or incorporate, okay, something like knowledge, culture, or food into a larger whole. All right. And so basically that's what those what was this guy name?
How to check if someone's spying on you? Actually, it's pretty simple. If you notice any of these signs,
Idumea disappeared.
Oh my goodness. I forgot this guy's name, man. But anyway, not Nimrod. What is his name, man? Whatever. Okay, I can't think of the name right now. But they pretty much assimilated, and started practicing what you would call Judaism. All right.
From future maps and history.
Okay.
The Edomites, later known as Idumeans, became assimilated into what we call today the Palestinians of today. Let's start to.
Okay, but now you may have some Edomites among the Palestinians. You may, Okay, it's possible. But a lot of these people are what you would call your Turkish, your Ottoman Turks, okay, and your small headers, all right, the 1948 48ers, all right, the small headers, people who are calling themselves Jewish, the Jewish people, all right. That's who the Edomites are, but also the Romans as well were Edomites, all right. The Romans as well were Edomites. The Romans who lacked melanin for the most part. Okay, now you may have had some dark colored Edomites, but for the most part, the Edomites who lacked melanin. All right.
Verify thing when you study Psalm 83, that'll surface as a major issue that you need to deal with. When you study Ezekiel 25 to 32, there are 7 nations that are judged by the Messiah when he returns: Ammon, Moab, Edom, Philistia, Tyre, and Sidon, and Egypt.
Okay, so man, he went to Psalms 83. All right. Pretty much, okay, and what we have in Psalms 83 are Edom was number 1 in Psalms the 83rd chapter, okay, but these are all the nations who are against the Israelites.
What's interesting about these 7 nations detailed from Ezekiel 25 to 32, what do they all have in common? They're all Muslims. How interesting. How interesting.
So this is what BB Net and not a real Jew, all right, was trying to say. Okay, he was trying to say that the Idumeans were Arabs, okay, when that is not the truth. And that's the same thing this guy is trying to say.
Now, the one of that list of 7, it's the judgment against Edom that is mentioned more in the Old Testament books than it is against any other foreign nation. And the list of references are there in your notes. You can go ahead and check them down yourself. It gets worse than this. We're just getting warmed up here. Obadiah, the entire book has to do with the judgment of Edom. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. It's fascinating to discover how the eagle is portrayed in the Bible. Really? The eagle. See, Edom was a small nation, but she boasted of her achievements. And the eagle, strangely enough, has been the traditional insignia of Israel's enemies throughout history.
Okay, that was his name. Herod. Okay. Herod. Okay. You see how he mentioned Herod? Now, Herod, okay, Herod is a 1948er. Okay. Rome, okay, those are Edomites. Germans, Edomites, British, Edomites, these are all so-called white people. Russia, and of course, Obadiah is talking about America. All right. Well, you could say it's talking about the rest of these Edomite nations as well, too. Okay. They're included in this destruction, but America above all. All right.
Had an eagle. Rome, eagle. The Nazi Germany had the British, the Russians, and America, symbolized by the eagle. The eagle is an ensign. And we can go through all of these. Antiochus Epiphanes, the Romans, Titus Vespasian. And by the way, it's kind of interesting that Antiochus Epiphanes, a type of the Antichrist, and Titus Vespasian, a type of, they may have been linked genealogically. I can't prove it, but it would not surprise.
Well, you can prove it, okay? You go to the Apocrypha. All right? Go to the Apocrypha. There's the proof. All right? So, I'm not going to go into that right now. All right? Because I don't know. They may, information like this comes down, they get to suspending accounts. But they didn't suspend his account. All right? So Antiochus Epiphanes, all right, yes, an Edomite. Vespasian, okay, an Edomite. Herod, an Edomite, all right.
That if we discover that there's a genetic link through these types, strangely enough, Byzantium, Russia, the Romanovs, the Franks, the Germans, and on it goes. And we find the eagle is a surprisingly consistent symbol of whoever is the enemy of Israel at the time.
That's right. Okay. That's right. So, and now the enemy of Israel is what? It has the same ensign. Okay. Emblem. Okay. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, woman, and child. All right. So I wasn't going to do this video, make this video too long. I just wanted to just bring that out. Now I don't even know what else he's going to say. Okay, but I may listen to some more. But hey, we already know this. We don't need an Edomite telling on the rest of the Edomites, and then we looking like, oh yeah, never knew that. Okay, no, we know. Okay, in fact, the information, okay, through Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai came down through those elders, all right, that came before, okay, Abba Bivens, all right, Ariyah, Marsha, all right, Yaiqua, all right, so this individual trying to act as if some of these Edomites could be okay, good guys, all right. Maybe they just made some bonehead mistakes. Let them slide. No way whatsoever. All right. No way whatsoever. Okay. These people are the Edomites.
Did someone design that? I don't think so. And yet there it is. But is there another missing link that we might learn something from? Another missing link. There's another dimension to the Edomites today that will emerge, I believe, from careful study. I think I've told you that the Lord gave me a strange whisper one night, over a year ago. Metaphors reign where mysteries reside. What on earth? Why did he call that to my attention? And that has echoed through my studies here for more than a year or two. I also discovered, as I mix with knowledgeable rabbis, they have a strange use of phrase that puzzled me. When we talk about globalists, these people in power that are going for a one-world government, the rabbis frequently refer to them as Edomites. And I because some of them are close friends, says, where do you get that? Why do you call them Edomites? See, I was thinking of it in the biblical genetical linkage, like most of us would. They use it idiomatically in a little broader way, apparently. It's a term they regard as referring to Rome or any other aspiring empire. That's the way they use that term as a metaphor. And the question is why? Well, I want to tell you a story of a guy.
Well, I could tell you why. I don't know what kind of spin, okay, he's going to put on it. It's because they know, all right, they know, all right, who the Edomites are. Okay, they all know who the Edomites are, but they're going to, change the name of lands, change the name of peoples. They change the name of all the lands. Okay, change the name change the history books. okay, which they did during the time of the Renaissance, all right, to fit their narrative. To fit their narrative. So I'm going to let him keep explaining.
Guy. His name is Amschel Moses Bauer. Okay? In 1740.
But what? This guy's getting deep. Okay? Man, you don't hear these people talking about this. He's going into it, okay? He said in 1743, okay, a goldsmith named Amschel Moses Bauer. Okay, you know who this is. This is a Rothschild. All right? And the name Bauer, okay, remember you used to have the Eddie Bauer bags. We used to go crazy about the Eddie Bauer bags. All right? Get some Eddie Bauer leather inside of your car, man. You was the man. Okay? But Bauer is actually a name which means beggar. All right? So opened a coin shop in Frankfurt, Germany. He hung above his door a sign depicting a Roman eagle on a red shield. The shop became known as the Red Shield Firm. Okay, the Rothschild family. All right. So I got to get ready. All right. So, hey, you could look more into this. It's deep. Okay. I didn't know this. I'm just, going along with you. All right. And, whatever scriptures pop to your head. All right. But I mean, like I said, we already knew this, but, surprising hearing this man. I've never seen a video from him. All right. I'm not subscribed to him. It's just I heard him in my sleep, and it woke me up last night, and I just looked more into it today. But anyway, Lord willing, you were edified. Until next time, shalom.